All right, so we are back talking about some more Montreal Canadiens prospects. In the previous video, we spoke about a few guys who had made their way overseas. The Finnish guys, Kotkaniemi, Leskinen, as well as Jesse Alonen. Those guys had themselves a little bit of star power, Kotkaniemi probably having the most out of the bunch. But today we're focusing on some other prospects who have admittedly a little bit more of a hype train associated with some of them. And the other is indeed another prospect that I know Canadiens fans have been very excited for over the past few years. So, let's talk today first off about Cole Caufield, and then we'll get to some updates on Josh Brook. So, first off with Cole Caufield, we all knew the weird context behind his story and what exactly was going to happen in 2020-2021. Caufield was a very good player in the NCAA last season. As one of the smallest guys on his team, one of the younger guys on his team, he still led the entire division in points. But as a guy who was heading into 2021 with uncertainty with the Wisconsin Badgers, and with there already being confirmation that he wasn't going to sign in Montreal to play this season in Laval or whatever, we were all kind of wondering, okay, what's going to happen? We just knew a little bit earlier on, though, that eventually the decision was made for him to stay with Wisconsin, play some games with them, whenever that may be, and ignore any of the other options, whether that's going to a pure European team or just signing straight up and playing with Laval or going over to the OHL or anything like that. But now we have ourselves the Wisconsin Badgers schedule, which has been officially released. Take a look at this. This is their 2020-2021 schedule. They're playing their first game on Friday, November 13th against Notre Dame. Eventually, they will start up with the back-to-backs. They do have Notre Dame 2 days in a row, the 13th and the 14th. Then on the 19th, they have the University of Michigan. And then you have yourselves the back-to-backs going throughout. You notice how there's a back-to-back for every single game, and in total, you're going to have yourselves a total of 12 games played. Now, I don't know if there's actually a little bit more beyond this. Who knows if there are actually going to be more than 12 games played, but you know, 12 games played is better than nothing, I'll say that. Even looking onto the Wisconsin Badgers website, there aren't any other games listed after the Michigan State game on December 9th. So I guess we could assume maybe the season will be very short. We'll have ourselves a little playoffs or a little tournament or a national championship thing, something like that. We might be able to see that. Who knows if they'll actually revamp the schedule and add some more games after 2021 actually begins. But for now, we have 12 new games for Cole Caufield over the next month, pretty much, to get excited for. We all kind of knew that Cole Caufield was in a spot where he was looking to improve on what was a literally point-per-game season. He had 36 points in 36 games last year with the Badgers on a bad team. They weren't really coached all too well. He wasn't really being deployed all too well, but he still got 19 goals in 36 games. He still was the top point producer in the conference. So that's certainly a great thing. Now, going into the Wisconsin Badgers season upcoming, plus with the World Juniors that's going to go on as well, there certainly is going to be a lot of fun over there. We'll see how exactly Cole Caufield is going to do. It's just nice to see the finalization of the schedule, I guess, because this is quite literally the first step in seeing all of that. I do find it quite interesting, though, because normally for the Wisconsin Badgers, for the NCAA in general, you would mostly have all their games taking place on the weekend. You would have the Friday game and then the Saturday game, and then you would wait a week, and then you would come back to play then. But as we noted, these are 12 games over here being taken over the span of about a month. So we're going to have ourselves several games in a week, which is awesome to see, but we're still having the back-to-backs. So I'm liking the schedule here because obviously, even though we know the perks of having an NCAA schedule like normal, where you have a lot of time to rest up, get back in the gym, etc., having a ramped-up schedule where you're playing 12 games in the span of 3 or 4 weeks certainly is interesting too, because then it kind of akins itself a little bit more to the NHL schedule where you're a little bit more active and you're playing a little bit more games weekly. But of course, that's just one observation. We'll see if there are any more games actually added on afterwards. But for Cole Caufield, we'll see how exactly he's able to do for the Wisconsin Badgers as the guy after a lot of the great players left, a lot of the good NTDP guys, and some of their seniors also left. For Cole Caufield, the Badgers this year are his team to lose. Now, we're going over onto Josh Brook, a guy whom a lot of Canadiens fans kind of forgot about because his season in 2019-20 was not all too impressive. He was a 2017 pick by the Canadiens in the second round, and then after that, this guy just completely took off. For the Moose Jaw Warriors in 2018-19, he had 75 points in 59 games played as a right-handed defenseman. Yeah, there was a big hype train for this guy for sure. In fact, he was seen by many to be the Canadiens' best prospect on the right blue line, so obviously there's a big amount of hype there. He was playing with a stacked power play with Jet Wu, Justin Almeida, Braden Tracy, and Tristan Langen. He was the best point producer for all blue liners in the WHL that season, which is why there was hype to the moon for this guy. However, his 2019-20 saw him get 13 points in 60 games played with the Laval Rocket. People noted his transition not being super smooth, but hey, the guy was only 20 years old when he made his debut. Obviously, you're not going to expect a 20-year-old to come in and dominate the AHL right away. Sometimes they do, but if it doesn't happen, then hey, that's not the end of the world. Josh Brook has recently been lent over to the Caufield Penguin. It is a hockey team in the DEL. Now, the DEL is an interesting choice because it's not the Finnish Liga, it's not the SHL, nor is it the KHL. And these are three leagues that I think most people would agree are better, let's just say, than the DEL. The DEL is indeed Germany's national hockey league, and sure, there are some very good talents playing in the DEL. We know Tim Stützle, Moritz Seider. We saw Lukas Reichel drafted earlier. We also saw some free agents like Dominic Cahoon, etc. emerge from the German DEL. But it is indeed somewhat of a downgrade compared to what most people would define as AHL level competition. So for Josh Brook, a 21-year-old guy who is going over to the Caufield Penguin, this will be a really good opportunity for him to start getting his game and his confidence back up there, to a point where he can play against guys who are a little bit worse than the competition he faced in the AHL and just take things over once again. He had a little bit of a tough time in Laval actually displaying those traits. So, for the Caufield Penguin, from now until the NHL season's return, or the AHL season's return, I guess, in Brook's case, we will see him go over there and actually, hopefully, take over that squad. Do I think he has the capacity to do it? Probably. The Caufield Penguin aren't amazing this year in the DEL if you go over to the overall DEL league information and stats. Even though they haven't played any games this year, no team in the league has, the Caufield Penguin were one of the last teams in the league last year. So if there's room for an emerging star to come out, we'll see if Josh Brook is able to fulfill that. So talk to me in the comments what you think about Cole Caufield and the Wisconsin Badgers 2020-2021 plans, as well as Josh Brook too. I'm looking forward to seeing all the conversation there. I know Canadiens fans are very big on these prospects, but I think these are just the first steps towards seeing a bigger picture in terms of upward growth for both of these guys, especially Josh Brook. So talk to me in the comments what you think. I hope you enjoyed this video. That's Trollson 99. And bye.